First, the next order of business is S1, sponsored by Senator Weinberg, Lesniak, and Sweeney. Enacts the Marriage, Equality, and Religious Exemption Act. I will yield to Senator Sweeney for some opening. Senate President Sweeney.
Thank you, Chairman, for hearing this very important issue. Equity, fairness, and justice are the most basic of American principles. Yet there remain Americans for whom these principles are not fully realized. As long as it's acceptable for some citizens to have different rights and benefits, and by definition, lesser than those of the majority, equality, fairness, and justice will elude us as a society. There's no more striking example of this inequity than the way our laws treat same-sex couples. That is why I called for the first Senate bill of this new legislative session, S1, to be devoted to achieving marriage equality in New Jersey. Several years ago, we established civil unions for same-sex couples in New Jersey. The law was, at the time, intended to ensure that all rights and benefits of marriage, but by a different name. Yet confusion about what civil unions means still exists, and couples are still denied the rights we supposedly established for them. Given that the intention of this law has never come to fruition for the people it was meant to benefit, it must be corrected. 6 states, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Iowa, New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York have taken steps to legalize same-sex marriage. And despite the naysayers, the sky hasn't fallen, nor will it when we enact it in the state of New Jersey. At least 10 countries recognize full marriage equality, including some of the most progressive, such as Belgium, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden. But South Africa, a country that recently, as 2 decades ago, had state-sanctioned racial discrimination, also has recognized same-sex unions as marriage. Marriage equality is also the law in Argentina, Portugal, and Spain. If the 3 most observantly Catholic nations in the world can recognize the union of same-sex couples as marriage, as they are, there is no reason New Jersey should lag. Moreover, we recognize that for many, marriage is a religious institution. That's why protections are written into this law, allowing clergy and those who oppose same-sex marriage as a matter of faith to decline to perform the same-sex marriage ceremony. But still, at its core, this issue is not about religion. It's about civil rights. I respect everyone's right to worship as they want to worship and believe as they want to believe. But those of us who wish to be protected by that right must also extend that right to everyone else. That means everyone, not certain select groups or individuals, but everyone. I think Ron Paul, yes, Ron Paul, that Ron Paul might have summed it up the best when he wrote, "Why not tolerate everyone's definition as long as neither side uses to impose its views on the other?" Problem solved. Well, I would hope that only the various religious groups that oppose this civil right will one day open their minds and hearts. There's nothing in this legislation that would force them to do so. Once this becomes law, nothing changes for any religion in New Jersey. Nothing. I give full credits to Senator Weinberg and Lesniak for crafting legislation that recognizes civil rights, but doesn't force any group a change in their beliefs or tenets. And because of how they've structured the bills, frankly, there's no just or sensible reason to oppose it. Lastly, for those who haven't made their minds up, who are leaning towards voting no, I ask you to please take a closer look. What we're trying to accomplish is solely a matter of basic civil rights. Nothing more, nothing less. How would you feel if your government told you who you couldn't marry the person you loved because of who you chose to love? We're past that time in our history, or at least we should be. And for those of you who in the past have spoken out against marriage equality, it's not too late. In the words that were used to eulogize Dr. Martin Luther King, the time is always ripe to do which is right and which needs to be done. Well, marriage equality is right and it needs to be done. Please take a closer look and do the right thing. Vote in favor of marriage equality and make New Jersey and the nation one step closer to being truly equal society for all. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President.